Switzerland is so neutral it accidentally invaded its neighbor multiple times. That is not a joke. Swiss soldiers have crossed into Liechtenstein at least 3 times since 1985, getting lost during training exercises and wandering into another country. Liechtenstein barely noticed. This is not about chocolate and watches. You are about to hear facts that sound like someone made them up as a prank. Secret bunkers for every citizen. A country that planned to destroy itself in World War II. Soldiers who keep invading the same tiny neighbor. A nation that somehow stayed out of 2 world wars while surrounded by chaos. Let's start with the fact that Switzerland has a habit of accidentally crossing borders. In 2007, Swiss soldiers on a training exercise in bad weather got disoriented and marched 1 kilometer into Liechtenstein. They realized their mistake, turned around, and went home. Liechtenstein's government said they were not upset because nothing happened. No shots fired, no damage, just some confused Swiss troops wandering through a field. That was not the first time. In 1968, Swiss soldiers fired 5 mortar shells into Liechtenstein during a training exercise near the border. The shells landed at the country's only ski resort. Nobody was hurt. Liechtenstein officials said they would only mildly protest. The Swiss apologized and moved on. Then it happened again in the 1990s. Swiss troops got lost on another exercise and crossed the border without realizing it. By the time anyone noticed, they were already back in Switzerland. The 2 countries share open borders and close ties, so these incidents are treated more like administrative hiccups than international crises. Switzerland takes neutrality seriously, and it also takes survival seriously. Since 1963, Swiss law has required enough fallout shelter space for every single citizen. That is not an exaggeration. Switzerland has bunkers for all 9 million residents, built into basements, tunnels, and mountains across the country. These are not basic shelters. They have air filtration systems, power generators, water reserves, and supplies designed to sustain life for months. Some are massive underground facilities that can hold thousands of people. Others are small rooms beneath apartment buildings. The law requires every new home to include shelter space or to pay into a fund that builds public bunkers. Walk through any Swiss city, and you will see unassuming doors marked with fallout symbols. Behind them are staircases leading to reinforced rooms stocked with canned food, medical supplies, and radiation detectors. During the Cold War, Switzerland drilled its population on how to reach the nearest shelter. School children practiced evacuation routes. Families kept emergency kits ready. The Swiss government still maintains these shelters today. Inspectors check ventilation systems, replace expired supplies, and update plans. Switzerland has more shelter space per capita than any other country on Earth. If a nuclear war started tomorrow, the Swiss could disappear underground and wait it out. But the bunkers are just one part of a larger strategy. During World War II, Switzerland prepared for the worst. The plan was called Operation Reduit. If Germany invaded, the Swiss would retreat to the Alps, blow up every bridge, tunnel, and mountain pass, and turn the country into a fortress no army could penetrate. They were not bluffing. Engineers built explosives into the infrastructure. Bridges had charges ready to detonate. Tunnels had demolition points. Mountain passes were rigged to collapse. The Swiss military trained for years on how to execute the plan. If the order came, Switzerland would destroy its own roads, railways, and borders to make invasion impossible. Some of those explosives are still there. Decades after the war ended, engineers discovered charges that were never removed. In the 1990s, Switzerland began a slow process of deactivating the old demolition points, but the mindset that built them never fully disappeared. Switzerland is not just neutral. It is paranoid and prepared, willing to blow itself up rather than be conquered. The country's political structure is just as fragmented. Switzerland has 26 cantons, each with its own government, laws, and tax system. Some cantons have different voting ages. Some have different rules on alcohol sales. Some have their own education systems. The federal government in Bern has limited power compared to the cantons. This creates a patchwork of regulations. A business operating in multiple cantons has to navigate different tax codes, labor laws, and bureaucratic procedures. A student moving from one canton to another might find a completely different curriculum, but the Swiss prefer it this way. Decentralization is part of the national identity. Switzerland practices direct democracy more than any other country. Citizens vote on national issues 4 or 5 times per year. Referendums cover everything from immigration policy to infrastructure spending to environmental regulations. If enough people sign a petition, any law can be put to a public vote. This system gives Swiss citizens more direct control over policy than almost anywhere else. It also means campaigns are constant. Political debates never stop. Voters are expected to stay informed on dozens of issues every year. Switzerland did not join the United Nations until 2002. For decades, the country stayed outside, arguing that United Nations membership would compromise its neutrality. Switzerland hosted United Nations agencies and participated in humanitarian work, but refused to become a member state. In 2002, a referendum finally passed with 55% approval, and Switzerland joined. Even now, Switzerland is not part of the European Union. Multiple referendums have rejected membership. The Swiss prefer bilateral agreements that let them trade with Europe without surrendering sovereignty. Switzerland is landlocked, yet it still has a navy. On Lake Geneva, Lake Constance, and other large lakes, the Swiss operate military patrol boats. These vessels are small, armed, and used for border security and search and rescue operations. The Swiss Navy is tiny, but it exists. The Swiss franc is one of the world's strongest currencies. Switzerland stores massive gold reserves in underground vaults. During financial crises, investors flee to the franc because it is seen as stable and secure. The Swiss National Bank holds hundreds of tons of gold, and the country's banking system is legendary for its discretion. Swiss banks became famous for secrecy. Numbered accounts allowed clients to deposit money anonymously. For decades, dictators, criminals, and wealthy individuals hid assets in Swiss banks. After World War II, investigators discovered that Swiss banks had accepted gold looted by the Nazis. The scandal damaged Switzerland's reputation, but the banking system remained powerful. In recent years, international pressure has forced Switzerland to open up. The country signed agreements to share financial information with other governments. Numbered accounts are harder to open, but Swiss banks still attract clients who value privacy and stability. Switzerland did not criminalize rape in marriage until 1992. Until then, the law assumed that marriage implied consent. Women's rights activists fought for years to change the law. When the reform finally passed, Switzerland was one of the last countries in Europe to recognize marital rape as a crime. Swiss trains run on time so consistently that the entire country synchronizes its clocks to the railway schedule. Train conductors carry watches accurate to the second. Platforms have clocks that tick in perfect unison. The Swiss Federal Railways operates one of the most punctual systems in the world. Delays of more than 3 minutes are considered failures. Switzerland produces more chocolate per capita than any other country. Lindt, Toblerone, and Nestlé are all Swiss brands. The Swiss also consume more chocolate per person than anyone else, averaging around 10 kilograms per year. Chocolate shops line the streets of Zurich and Geneva, selling handmade truffles and pralines. Switzerland has no official capital. Bern is called the federal city, and it hosts the federal government, but the constitution does not name a capital. This is deliberate. The Swiss wanted to avoid giving one city too much power. Swiss German is so different from Standard German that Germans struggle to understand it. Each canton has its own dialect. A person from Zurich sounds different from someone in Basel or Bern. The written language is Standard German, but spoken Swiss German is almost a separate language. In 2009, Switzerland voted to ban the construction of new minarets. The referendum passed with 57% approval, sparking international controversy. Supporters argued it was about preserving Swiss culture. Critics called it discrimination. The ban remains in place. At the time, only 4 minarets existed in Switzerland. Switzerland has more than 1,500 lakes, more than any other European country. Some are tiny mountain pools. The lakes are fed by glaciers and alpine streams, and many are so clear you can see the bottom. Switzerland's strangeness hides in plain sight. There are bunkers under almost every building. Explosives were even rigged into mountains. A country that accidentally invades its neighbor and calls it a training error. Neutral on paper, paranoid in practice. If you want more European facts that sound fake until you Google them, subscribe now. Drop your favorite Switzerland fact in the comments. If you have not watched the Belgium episode yet, check it out next. That is where things get even weirder.